this video, I'll be showing you how to add a second color to your knitting so that you can knit stripes. When you are alternating between two colors while knitting, it's called color work, and you do not need to cut off your first color in order to work with your second color. So I'm going to show you how to switch between two colors while knitting without having to cut off your yarn. In our beginner knitting pattern, obviously there's a lot more stitches than this. This is a small sample so that you don't have to watch me knit a giant row. And also the colors are reversed, so your project won't look exactly like mine, but this is just a sample. So you are going to want to leave your working yarn of your main color attached to your work, attached to your cone, and in order to knit your next row, you're going to bring your contrast color to the back of your work and use your either your middle finger and thumb or your ring finger and thumb. I'm going to use my fingers here to pinch the tail, the new tail that I'm joining. Leave about 6 inches on the back for weaving in your tail later. There, and just squeeze like that to secure the new end of yarn. And bring your needle in to knit normally. Throw with the new color and go ahead and get your first stitches onto the needle. As you can see, my last stitch of my main color has stretched out a lot, so I'm just going to give the working yarn of my first color a little bit of a tug to keep it tight, and go ahead and knit my very first row with the new color. You can apply just a little bit of pressure there to the tail to keep that first stitch snug. And I'm going to complete the row and then turn around and knit a second row so that I get back to the beginning of my work, or the beginning of my new color. If you're noticing that that stitch is becoming loose, you can snug those up a little bit. The nice thing about knitting with color work is that that issue that you run into with the first stitch loosening is not going to be a problem as you keep going. You'll be able to just switch between the two colors pretty effortlessly. You don't have to always be tugging your ends because they get kind of locked into the work. So knit that last stitch and reverse your knitting. Snugging your tail down, but instead of continuing with the new color, I'm going to bring the working end of my main color back up and start the next row with my main color. Tugging those ends just to secure. One of the only issues that you could potentially face while working with color work is having your working ends and that are connected to your cones of yarn might get wrapped around each other. Try to catch it early if that starts happening and just unwind the two, unravel the two cones, not the yarn off of the cones, but keep them from tangling with each other if you can. Keep the work separate, or keep the cones separate. So that's pretty much the whole technique. Keep your yarn on your work during color work. Don't cut it off after each row, and you will save yourself lots of time and effort. It's harder to change colors than it is to keep knitting stripes. And that's it.